Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. Today we're looking at another product that's not quite new, but I feel one kind of under the radar, and that is Factory Blanks by Tom Stone and Card Shark. Let's get into the review. Perfect, so you stay tuned in, so that means you're a little bit interested into what Factory Blanks is. As the last product that I reviewed, this is not a product that I can perform here for you because it is meant for stage and parlor, hence the medium in which I am right now, and even the fact that cameras can maybe pick up things that normal eyes can't, makes the performance an impossibility. However, I will explain to you the routine in detail just for you to understand what it is. So essentially, you take a blank deck of cards, you approach the audience, you show them the deck on both sides, you tell them, look, it is blank. You give them a card, you tell them to look in the light to see if they can see through. They say no. You then bring someone with you on stage. You spread the blank deck in front of them. You ask them to take out any of the pieces of card. You then show it to them and you ask them to imagine a suit, imagine a color, imagine a number or a picture, and imagine all the card forming together on the piece of blank paper. They do so. After that, you take a board or a sketchbook or a notepad. You jot down in front of the whole audience so everyone can see the card. And afterwards, you ask them, so you imagine the card, all of that pattern, and then they reveal, for the sake of argument, you wrote down King of Clubs, and the card that they randomly saw in the deck was the King of Clubs, and you have an effect, and that is essentially the main routine. So now, where do you buy this and how much does it cost? So Factory Blanks is currently available through Card Shark. I do believe that they are the only company still selling these because everywhere else I looked, they appear to be sold out. So Factory Blanks appear to be sold out everywhere else except for Card Shark. So I think that they are currently the only manufacturer that do produce these decks, and it sells for a retail of $35 US. So now, what do you get when you buy Factory Blanks? What you get is this deck of cards here in this little packaging, and you also get a plastic sleeve that's not very, very classy compared to all the other tricks that Card Shark produce. This is probably the least nice packaging that they do offer. So you get this deck, you get that little sleeve, and inside the sleeve you get a 3 to 4 page pamphlet. I wouldn't even call it a booklet. It's a small pamphlet that does explain to you 2 or 3 routines and the main use of the deck. So you're not getting much here, but the deck is quite straightforward in what it does. So I don't think you're going to need much instructions. It's quite easy to understand, and you are able to, make your own routines. I also want to show you here the cards themselves. So this is what the cards look like. I know that the first thing that you may be wondering is, why are these cards gray? Why are the cards not blank? This is supposed to be a blank deck, so why is it gray? And that is because the principle that makes the cards work does not work on blank decks, the traditional blank decks that we're used to. Hence, they had to put a little grayish undertone to the cards. So that's the main thing here that you have to keep in focus, is that the blank deck is a little bit grayed out, but to your audience, the audience are not familiar with what a blank deck is. They don't have any at home. They never bought any. So this will fly by. If you tell them, you show them on both sides, you tell them, look, the deck is not printed. Here, you can even take a card, look at it in the light. Do you see anything? They're going to say no, and you can proceed to your routine. I don't think that there's any heat on this, and the cards seem to be printed on amazing cardstock. They handle really, really well. They fan well. They do everything a good deck of cards is supposed to do. So the quality of the deck is there, and it is quite good. I don't think that this will run out on you anytime soon because this is a one-trick deck. So you perform it, and afterwards you put it back in your case, and you're not going to be performing this walk around or anything like that. It's just for stage and parlor. We're going to get to that in a moment. So that's essentially what you get with your purpose. Now, what is the difficulty of the effect? The effect is quite simple. However, as many products that I reviewed, this does take audience management. This is a trick where the method itself is simple, but the crux of the effect relies in your ability to manage the audience and manage the interaction you have and how everything shapes up. That is the most important part of this effect. So in regards to difficulty, it is simple, but you do have to manage your audience because it is essentially a dual reality effect. So you're going to have to play off and bounce off how both the spectator and the audience interpret and see the effect in order for them to both react. Because if the audience gives a big reaction and your spectator is just on stage there and he's like, okay, but I know how that was done, it was magic, it's not going to work. So you do have to play this out to make sure that both parties react and both parties think that they saw the same thing. So that's your main difficulty of the effect. Apart from that, the handling is super, super easy. You just have to cut a deck of cards and spread the cards so someone can touch one, and that is it. That is all you have to do. Now, let's get into, is this practical and where do you perform this? So, as I said, this is just a deck of cards. There's not much else to carry. So, for practicality, you just carry the deck of cards. And in the case of where you perform this, it is practical because when you do a stage show, parlor show, you do have your small case or whatever you like to bring with you, your pouch, and you will put this inside and it's not going to carry much space, so it won't intervene or anything like that because this is meant for parlor and stage. I repeat, this is meant for parlor and stage. This is not meant for close-up. This is not meant for table hopping. This is not meant for restaurant. This is meant as a piece for stage where you can have someone come on stage, the audience stays where they are, and that's how the trick works. This is a stage effect similar to other tombstone effects like of Dice and Men. That also is a stage effect. You're not going to take out the board with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to perform in a restaurant. So this is similar to that because you are going to have to perform this on parlor or stage. So do keep that in mind. Regarding the last thing that I want to mention about the product before going in the verdict is, again, that it is well made and it is probably going to last you a lifetime, but you will have to kind of, take care of how your spectators handle the cards. And again, I just want to rehash the argument of audience management because essentially when you give out the card for, people to look at it and see in the light if they see anything, or, when you give it out and you tell them, pass it around, can anyone see? You do have to be careful about how you tell this because you don't want this to be a free passage of the deck because you can only hand out a small portion of the deck. So the last thing that I wanted to mention is that this relies on audience management, and that is the most important thing that you're going to have to know. Now, let's get into my final verdict and the score. So let me just give you the positives and the negatives of this trick. The positives, it is a very good piece of mentalism. It is very good to include in your parlor or stage show. It is very well made. It will probably last you a lifetime. And it gets good reactions. It gets great reactions if performed correctly. Now I want to get into some of the negatives. One, this is only meant for parlor and stage, so kind of the positives and negatives, they're the same in this regard because it's for one set and not for the other. Second set, it's not very inspectable. Third set, you do need a really good, grasping of audience management because if not, it's not going to be a great trick. And probably the most important thing that I do want to say is that the routines are really lacking. So you do have to put your own work in this effect to make it the best possible because you don't get many routines, you don't get many handlings. You're going to have to build your own routine for this to be the best it can. In the end, this is still a good product. It is still something that if you're interested by this review, you should maybe get because you won't regret it. But in the end, this is good. It's not something exceptional. I give this a 7.5 on 10. It is a good effect, but it's nothing game-changing or nothing that, surprised me when I got the packaging. It is good, but it is not incredible. So I think a 7.5 is a fair rating for this product. I want to thank everyone for watching. Please comment down below about what you think of the effect. What do you think of everything? And yeah, I want to thank everyone and see everyone in the next video. Bye-bye.